For more great retail real estate content, like, share, and subscribe.
Permits. To me, this process always feels like waiting to get through immigration after an international flight. You wait in a really long line, and when you finally get to the front, you're super nervous, even though you know you're not smuggling drugs. But still, you hold your breath until the guard stamps your passport. The length of time and level of pain involved in permitting just depends on your jurisdiction and your project. The good news is that people on your team, like your broker, your architect, and your GC, should have a pretty good sense of how long projects like yours typically take in permitting. That being said, you never know what may happen along the way, so you'll have to be patient. Generally, here's how the process goes. Once you have a final set of plans and you know they're not going to change very much, you'll submit them to the local jurisdiction. You should definitely take some time to review any information online about the process because in many cases, your city or county will require that the set of plans be submitted or uploaded in very specific ways with specific file names and things like that. And so you want to make sure that you and your architect are turning everything in the exact right fashion. Depending on your budget and available brain space, you can often either pay your architect to manage this process or even hire an outside permit service to handle it. But the free option, the one where you're doing the work, is often totally doable. Do be mindful that you'll be paying at least one fee here and probably more than one. Between plan reviewing fees, to building permit fees, to the final use and occupancy fees, you can expect to write some checks during this phase. Now, once you've uploaded or dropped off your permit set in exactly the right way and paid the initial fees, your project will be in the queue for review by all the relevant plan reviewers. The different reviewers and agencies that will go over your plans varies according to jurisdiction. Typically, you'll have someone review your plans for zoning, building code, plumbing, electrical, mechanical, sometimes wastewater, and definitely health code if you're a food service establishment. Basically, your plans will be evaluated according to any rules that exist that regulate how things need to be built. Since you hired a good architect and engineering team, there really shouldn't be any surprises here, but sometimes you will have to provide some clarification. And sometimes you will be required to make some adjustments to your plans. Your architects and engineers should definitely participate in this process since they'll need to make any required changes to the plans themselves. One note here. As your plans make their way through permitting, your GC is going to gear up to start work. It's essential that you keep your GC apprised as to where your project is in the permitting process to the best knowledge because you and your GC will want to get starting to work as soon as possible. If you're a cafe or a restaurant, your plans will be reviewed by the health department. There are lots of requirements here that you'll want to be sure are addressed because the next time you'll hear from the health department is going to be at your pre-opening inspection. And the last thing that you want to hear when you're planning to open in 5 days is that you're missing a hand washing sink and you can't open without it. On that note, a word of advice about dealing with anyone you work with in the permitting office, and this includes inspectors. Be patient, be kind, and be respectful. This should go without saying, but this process can be long. And if it seems that no one cares about your timeline, it's because they don't. So don't be mad about it. It just is. Once your plans are approved, you'll pay some final fees and you'll be issued your building permit and construction work can really begin. You'll want to set up regular meetings with your GC to monitor progress in the space. In the beginning, it may be every other week, and there will certainly be a point where you're meeting every single week, maybe more. It's also typical for your architect to attend some or all of these meetings, and it's really important to ask questions and speak up if anything is unclear or seems out of place. One final note. While you're still in permitting, it's a good idea to reach out to insurance brokers to start getting quotes. Because while you're still months away from opening, you will need builder's risk insurance, which is a special type of policy for spaces under construction, and it will most definitely be required by your landlord.